Whereupon we are on live now. So up to you.
Happy New Year to everyone. Welcome back to our online meditation session by Pha Ajahn Suchan. So I hope you had a good time for break, for Christmas, meeting your friend and have some time to recover right now. So let's move on to continue our retreat again to start for New Year and move on for this 2024 with the Sati Patthana. So I leave the floor for Pha Ajahn Suchan.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Today is our first session of the year. So after the busy festivities and celebrations and excitements, now back to a quietness. Learn to be quiet. And I believe that you've been practicing as well. May not be all the time, but at least on and off, and sometimes. So we just recap of our practice before we go on to the talk and discussion later on. Okay, so let's practice meditation. So I invite you to sitting in a comfortable position, which is the preliminary requisites to practice the meditation. And since this is a very early morning for all of us, today, rather than, I would like you to open your eyes, then close your eyes. Right? So open your eyes and try to notice your bodily posture as you're sitting. Although your eyes are gaze on a screen, but your consciousness is not on a screen, but in your own sitting body. And try to listen the sound of your own breath. As you're sitting comfortably, whichever position you are at the moment, whether you are on a cushion or on your sofa, making sure that you're not leaning on your sofa, just the sitting, and relaxing yourself, and observing your sitting posture, sitting body, as your eyes are open, and I want you to hear your own breathing, sound of breathing. And when you're hearing your breathing sound, again, do not control the sound or the process of the breath, nor try to make it harder or softer to hear soothing breaths. Let it breathe naturally, but consciously aware of your sitting body with the breath coming in and going out, and you hear the breath coming in and going out. While you are observing in this way, if your eyes slowly shuts it down, then it's okay. Do not force yourself to keep your eyes open, and let it naturally closes itself as you feel calming. And oftentimes you may try to control the breath or tensing your own physical body while you are observing in this way. So making sure that you relax your shoulders and you relax your body, muscles, and gently, just being aware of the breath coming in and going out as you're sitting upright. And as you're aware of your own breath and the sound of breathing in and out, try to notice when incoming breath long, what effects comes to your body, and when outgoing breath long, what effects happens in your body. So basically try to learn to notice here when a short breath comes, what happens, when long breath comes, what happens, when long breath out, what happens, short breath comes, what happens in your physical body. Along with the sound of the breath. Don't forget the sound of the breath. As we are aware of the sound of the breath, it's coming in, going out. Learn to notice the long breath and the short breath, how that affects to the body. At this moment, we are paying attention to the bodily effects due to the breath coming in and going out. Breathing in and breathing out, listening the sound of the breath, aware of entire body sitting, noticing incoming breath and outgoing breath, that is a long or a short. When long breath comes, what effects you can feel in your body. When long breath goes out, what effects you can experience in your body. And why there is a short breath in and breathe out. Here, adding one more to aware, that is it the breath that is regulating the experience of the physical body, or this body, the physical body, that is causing the breath coming in and going out? But never forget, the sound of the breath is our anchor. This is not the practice of a thinking either. It's about the feeling, experiencing what's happening now. With the help of the breath, the mind is consciously aware of the things that's happening without losing, without missing, and no thinking. And oftentimes you may experience of a sudden long breath or a gasp of a breath. Try to notice what was the reason you are having that sudden long breath as you are calmly meditating, observing the breath. And when you take that sudden long breath, what happens? What is your experience, Sir? By this time, if you are aware, you may notice that the sound of the breath becomes so subtle that you can't hear. Breath also becomes so subtle and so calm, even that sometimes or oftentimes distract your attention, and some other thoughts and distraction just slips in. And you feel that the breath and the body is just like a one just functioning, and slowly your attention just draws away to somewhere else. And in those moments again, when you gain the consciousness, when you become mindful of that state, suddenly you will take the long breath simply to be mindful. And you become aware of that long breath, and that again increases the sound of the breath. And that's again bring yourself into the present moment here and now, letting you to be in the moment. Relax, and collected moment. The breath also calmed, settled, relaxed. The body also settled and relaxed. There is no force at all. You simply just be there and observing it, as we are sitting at the bank of the river and watching these activities, and we hear the sound of the breath like the river flows, and we hear the sound of the water flowing. You may take a long, deep breath, just to be aware of the moment here. Lift your attention to your eyes, aware of sensations in your eyes, generating the intention to come up from the practice. Slowly open your eyes and come out from the practice and relax. Okay, so this is just a refreshment of a practice before going into the any talks. Anybody has anything to share? Anybody wants to share or anything bothering you throughout this practice from maybe last session to now? No? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Just to share what I just got right now, because when you were asking that we feel what the body react to the short breath and long breath, then we regulate the breath, so it's not really what the body needs. So I was thinking, okay, I was trying, okay, what I feel when I have a shorter breath and longer breath and the whole thing. But that's not what the body needs. So I just, okay, I let go of that and I just let the body feel what it needs. So the breath got longer and shorter, depends on what the body needs. And then, as you say, that we should focus on the sound of the breathing. And suddenly I don't hear it anymore and my thoughts just start drifting for a bit, and I feel my shoulder was just getting a bit painful because like there's a weight of the world on my shoulder, on one shoulder only. And I was like, oh, okay, that's what I should come back. And I start to go back to listen to my breathing and longer because I want to clear that pain from my shoulder for a few breaths. And then, okay, I'm back to the present. So that pain gone. For a bit, it come back again. I start drifting to a few thoughts that I have in my head. Okay, I have to keep on breathing, just be back in the present. And I think that was how the body told you that you need more oxygen, you need more breathing, you need to be more in the present. So that's what I just felt right now. I just want to share. Thank you.
Yeah. Wonderful. Yes. See, you're learning from your own experience, see, and you are able to see, noticing that why you need the long breath and why you need the short, or what is happening when you're having a short breath. You're constantly paying attention to the bodily and whatever function taking place at that moment. So that's the awareness, that kind of a sati or a attention or a mindfulness that we are trying to develop. It becomes natural to us so that in our day-to-day life, without any troubles, we will be able to use this to deal with this, and then we won't be suffered, and we won't be having any questions about why me, what is happening, what's wrong, and a kind of that spiral of a thought process and thinking goes on, right? So that's a wonderful, good. Now, anybody recognize that this is the part of what practice? What practice? If you remember from last year's, the whole year we studied the Satipatthana. So that is from the first part, is called mindfulness of breathing, right? And that mindfulness of the breathing again is coming from the mindfulness of the body. Yeah? So in the bodily mindfulness of the bodily part, mindfulness of the body in the first part of the Satipatthana, or the mindfulness foundations of a mindfulness meditation, that first part comes the breathing practice, mindfulness of the breathing. And here we covered all four in one go. In 20 minutes, you have skilled in that four parts. So breathing in long, we know breathing in long. breathing out long, we know breathing out long. And this is again, we learn it naturally without interfering it at all. Automatically, we recognize why this is a long breath, right? But simply hearing the sound of it. And then a short breath, why there is a short breath occurs and what are the effects. So again, we learn that short breath coming in, short breath going out. And with that, we didn't stop there. We again further practiced noticing that what effects our body is having. And here we also learn the breath, the entirety of it. So here with that, previously we have practiced and spoken about this flesh body and a breath body quite a lot. Here we recognize like a breath body and a flesh body. What are the relationship, and also how it affects one another. So we learn that one. Again, this is from our own experiential level. We're experiencing it. An entire breath that is coming, an entire breath that is going out, and that is affecting the entire body, an entire body, how it works, how it functions, right? In the meantime, we also focused and we learn today in this 20 minutes of the practice that when this breath calms, body also settles, calms. In the meantime, when your body settled, that also calms the body, sorry, the breath body, right? So breath also calms down. While we are practicing in this way, you may notice some form of a pleasant feeling, calm feeling, relaxed feeling, right? And that is known as the joy that comes. And that joy is so important in the practice that actually energize us to further practice. But in order to get that joy is not easy. See, we have to pay attention to it, and then fixing our attention on these the phenomena or the functions that is taking place, the process that is taking place. When we are fixing our attention on these and attentively being aware of that, not forgetting ability to notice and recognizing it, and eventually what happens, slowly it becomes a state that, wow, what a wonderful, so the joy comes, or sometimes the English word called a rapture. Yeah, I feel rapture is something a bit difficult to understand, but the joy is much easier to link and relate to the experience that we receive. And this joy actually is the key that helps us to understand further our emotions and feelings, that why I am having these feelings, why am I having these emotions, and how to deal with that one. And this joy and these feelings and emotions in this case actually is not related to any other things, any other the objects or any other gain or whatever we have received. It is a purely arose from the practice that you have been practicing, and then you become aware of it. As you become aware and your mind simply feel, wow, wonderful. So that is. Now I tell you my own experience. I took this 5 days of a silent retreat here in our center. So no people allowed. And somehow it happens naturally give me this wonderful moment. We have a snow from Sunday till Wednesday. nobody can come. And somehow, and at the same time, I announced that nobody is allowed to the center. I'm taking the 5 days of a silent retreat, and the snow came. So when I was practicing this now, because I have so many information about the practice of a meditation, about the different types of practices and different ways of practicing. So many information I've been collecting again and again. And when I started practicing from the Monday morning, it was very, very difficult. Okay? Very difficult. Where to concentrate, how to do, which one I should follow to for this retreat, and which patterns I want to practice throughout this retreat. And it took me quite a while. And then suddenly I said, okay, whatever will be, will be. So I dropped all that the intention or all that thoughts of which practice I should adopt and how should I. And with that naturally dropping, my body automatically settled and the mind settled. And with that, become aware of this breath so clearly. And yet again, still so difficult to maintain fixing my attention to that breathing. And then after that, again, I did a long walking meditation. Can you imagine how long did I do that walking meditation? I did this back and forth in this small room, back and forth practicing walking meditation. And it came at the stage that my stomach felt sick. My head felt like I'm going to vomit. Right? And then, okay, now this is enough. So then I went to sit and meditate. And that moment again, it was because of the bodily calm, and I've been working so hard with my mind. As soon as I sat down, it was automatically, naturally went into the state of a calmness and awareness. Mind becomes so sharp. A mind simply disconnected from all other things, and there was pure joy, joy of awareness, joy of awareness, just simply being aware of that joy. And this joy actually didn't go quickly. It remained, and then it gave this remaining, this joy actually it came into the stage that I feel so happy. I feel so serene and happy. And this happiness, again, not bind by any other material gains or anything that I received. Weather was very cold, -4, -4, and I didn't turn on the heating. I didn't turn on the fireplace. I was just having this one blanket and then just the sitting there, and but I was experiencing this such a happiness. It's like you are so thirsty after you've been walking for a long time and you don't have a water, and you desire to have this water, and then gradually you see that there is a shop coming nearer, and you know that you can get the water from there. And this pleasure, and the closer this shop comes, the pleasure increases more and more. And as soon as you get the bottle of water and you drink it, and you feel, wow, like that happiness, right? It's like a quenching your thirst by drinking the water, like that one. I was just there, grounded and sitting and experiencing that happiness. When I was experiencing that happiness, what happened again further on, that gradually you see that how that happiness is actually making our mind to flickering, eh? Beginning to shake and to change, like that. So we'll be able to recognize they gradually enter the state of the minds. Now here, I told this story simply. I wanted to make you feel to practice more so that you can get more joy and happiness. And with that joy and happiness, you will be able to recognize your true mindset. So far, we've been practicing our meditation with something, relying on something, uh, relying on either breath, either our feelings, our experiences, on that. These are simply, it's like you're casing our mind to see the real mind. It's like I was thinking this morning how to formulate that is like suppose you are fishing, traditionally you are fishing, or when now that I remember, when you are trying to catch wild pigs, what's called wild animal anyway, okay, and then you will put the cages in a different places, right? And then channeling into the same place where the animal will go into the net that the hunter have set it up, like that. And then the animal will go in that way. Uh, so then you can see this animal clearly. But here, animal, you can already see the animals. Whereas another simile that I was thinking this morning was the fish. When you are catching a fish in a river, you have to uh, uh, drive from different places to come to the net. And when it comes to the net, you can see the fish, right? And this fish is like our mind. So we are basically training from different directions to put our mind into the right position so that we can see this mind purely, purely in a state that not conditioned and not conditioning by other things to see this mind, but this mind itself. What type of a mind? It's like what type of a fish is it? And whether it is a salmon or whether it is any type of a fish, or which color of that fish. Yeah. And when we see that pure this fish, then we can understand what type of a fish is this. Same with our mind. When we come into the state after passing through this joy and happiness, the state comes that the stage that we see this mind only, pure mind. And in that pure mind, again, it's not a pure mind itself. It has preconditioned already, like a fish, sometimes a black, or sometimes white, or maybe a red, and different type of these colors. Once we cut it, then we recognize that. Same way, our mind also like that too. So our mind has our mind is so different stages. It is in a state of oftentimes we are driven by greed, right? Hate, um, and also unknown and delusion and ignorance, and then scattered, disturbed, like that. So these are the mental states that we will be able to see that actually my mind in a state when I see it as a raw material, this is actually combination of this lust, hatred, ignorance, like that. And then like uh, deluded, concentrated, not concentrated, mindful, not mindful, and these are different colors we will be able to see within this one single gross mind. When we see that, then what happens is that it is something like, goodness me, I thought that this is me. Actually, this is not me. This mind is so disturbed, and this mind has so much absorbed, like that, right? And this mind, again, we will be able to know from the very, you know, basic level that this is it, this it. When we know in this way, now again here we know this mind simply because of our consciousness is there, and then there is the relationship of this breath is there too. Yeah, and with that awareness of this raw mind, we will be able to, further practicing that. How can I make it even more brighter, like stainless, stainless state of this mind? Because each stains that we have, that stains actually causing us to be in the troubles. As a result of that, when we see things, hear things, smell things, contact with the objects, we react based on that things that already saved in this plate or in this one mind, which is already saved as like a greed, a hate, or ignorance, and like that. So this is as soon as our mind, our six senses hears, whether the eye sees or ear hears, that very moment, this mind simply brings that which is already there and causing it, manipulating it or exaggerating it, and then we take it into personally and subjectively, take it subjectively, and causes a trouble and disturbs, appears, and as a result we go back into the system where, again, further generating of greed, hatred, and delusion. We are simply adding up more than which was already there, and with that we are making our mind, rather than into the pure, towards to the purity, towards more into the delusional, or this further darkening our mind. So and that's why the practice of meditation is basically, we are going towards that catching this fish, so that we can understand this fish properly. Okay? So I offer this as a practice, for today, and there's a reflection for today. And now I will end here, and wish you all the best. So any questions or anything if you want to ask, so I will stop by now here. Do you have any question to ask or anything you want to add before we practice? No? Okay, so in that case, let's practice. And in this practice, I want you to experience that further explanation that I have given you now. Okay, so bring your attention to the moment here. Yeah, you may take a long, deep breaths again. So again, do not close your eyes, just to hear your sound of a breath first, and aware of your sitting body, and let the body naturally settled. Slowly, as your mind calms, you will close your eyes itself. as you are listening the sound of the breath. To be mindful of incoming breath and outgoing breath, long or short. Trying to be mindful of this entire body breath. So, breath body and a flesh body. You may experience of expansion of entire body as you breathe in or breathe out. Contraction of the entire body. The activities of each breath and each the bodily functions. Mindful as breath calms, body calms. As the body settled, breath also calms. We become observer, objectively aware of the breath as well as this body. Joy arises as we become so aware, not have to think of it. Do not have to think of the breath of the body, or just the pure awareness of any activities taking place. Trying to notice the joy and happiness that born out of it. The sound of the breath as a background to support so that our mind will not drift away far and wide. You may find difficult to recognize the joy, which type of a joy or what kind of a joy. Do not search and do not try to find it. This experience of something very unusual, differences. Could be just there's a calm state of the mind. Maybe just the purity of your heart. Feel the light. Or you may see the bright of your mind. Or you may experience of like seeing it very closely, like you are approaching to the shop to buy the water. The closer it comes, the brighter and clearer it becomes. And as you settle, seated, grounded, that's the happiness. It's like you have found the seat by the river and you sat down and watching it. Train to notice how mind becomes flickering with other things. There is a sense of a wanting, a desire, sense of a not wanting, resentment. Obviously, again, if you're finding difficult, just to remain listening the sound of the breath, noticing the incoming breath, outgoing breath, knowing the relationship of the breath body and the flesh body, just being there, learning and noticing. Sometimes you may have to follow the breath simply to be here so the mind becomes connected. Other times, just let it be, just hearing it. In this stage, if your mind is really fixing your attention on the breath and aware of these phenomena, you may be able to recognize that where this breath you feel the most as a particular place. Where the mind often goes and settles or feels the breath there. Like you're sinking on that space, that state. Breathing in, breathing out. Weight of the breath. Seeing the sound of the breath. Recognizing the long and the short breaths. Effects to the body. Joy and happiness. Born out of being able to be mindful of the breath and listening to the sound of the breath. State of the mind. Able to recognize this mind, whether it is lustful, hatred, ignorance, deluded, scattered, developed or undeveloped, concentrated, not concentrated. So bring your attention to your body awareness. To your eyes. Attention to open your eyes. Slowly come out from the practice again and relax for a while. Okay, so this floor is yours. Any questions or any sharing? You're most welcome. Jonas?
I just want to share first of all, my leg is completely numb now, as it was quite long now. And usually I would go, oh my God, my leg is numb, my leg is numb, my leg is numb. It hurts, but somehow this time I was able to just let it be. And now I realize kind of trusting the fact that, first of all, the leg will not die, and that a little bit like with the water, it will be released at some point. And it did. So that was just this bodily feeling. And the idea of listening to the breath was very helpful for me. And the first part, I realized that breathing out was easier to make the sound very stable, but to pull in was very difficult. It was like sometimes also with movement, when you're trying to make a movement very even, it's not so easy when you didn't practice it. And then after a while, the coming in was also smooth. And then I realized that there was complete stillness in a way in the body, except the lungs going in and out. And that the less I changed in any way in my throat or in my body, the more gradual the sound stayed. And that was just very helpful to realize that it actually works, to have the power to influence these things. So my mind was concentrated in that moment. Not all the time, of course. You still fly around and have thousands of thoughts, but to have this kind of task was powerful. And I want to thank you for the input. Thank you.
Yes, that's good. See, you managed to separate your body, body sensation, and also manage mindful and ability to be mindful of these processes and how the mind, how the breath causes and changes and a concentrated state of the mind. Yeah, so good. Keep practicing. And see, actually, there is a practice, and this practice is before going into the knowing this long and the short breaths. Normally, you are physically asked to do it, and like just like a playing with the breath. So that's why working in with the breathing meditation, you can play with it or you can just simply work with it. Now, the initial stage was, the instruction is that play with it. So taking like a long deep breaths, and that we've been practicing last year. If you recognize, I've been telling, and instructing to observe this long breath and a short breath like that. So you're playing with it, making a long breath and holding and releasing, and then letting it be. So these are the stages, and that is actually instruction is that you do it so much until you feel tired and rest, and then just hearing this sound of the breath. It's like after you have running for some times and come to the stillness, and then this time you're not paying attention to anywhere, but you're hearing the sound of the breath like that. And as the body settles, as the breath settles, gradually this breath also becomes slower and slower and slower, so like that. And then gradually moving on to the further practice of noticing the uninterrupted long breaths and short breaths, and how this uninterrupted long breath and short breaths affects to the settlement of the calming the body, calming the breath, and calming the mind like that. Okay? So that's also a way of doing it too. Also instruction is given in that way too, but we didn't do in a way in that way, but I just instructed in bits and pieces along the way, just training yourself, training you all to come to the stage in this way, so that you're able to see and are mindful of that moment in this way. Okay? So very good. Continue practicing. And there is also another way of practicing that I think I did mention a couple of times in the past as well. It's about counting the breath, if you remember, counting the breath in a different ways, and how the breath comes in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that, up to the 10, in different ways of doing it, and connecting, realizing. Which and from here again, today also I mentioned about settling into the one particular place, that in a separate step now. Early on it was like this, coming into the straightaway, okay, try to find the settled place, settled ground. But here now, the mind itself is finding a place to be. So it's like a mind, as I have explained a couple of times or many times, that will not be arising singly. It has to have an object, right? So here and now in this state, when we see this coarse mind, it needs to have somewhere to be, a foundation. And that's the breath that we are talking about. And then this breath again, the mind itself chooses to be, and it settles there. And when it settles there, and then we can see this mind is like at that moment is settles. We see this mind is there now, and then gradually, as we're paying attention to it, it just flickers. And this flickering simply coming from, man, I don't like this one. I like this one. I want to be this way. I want to practice in that way. Wish my breath is this way. Wish my mind is concentrated in this way. So in this way, the mind is flickering in this way. So here in this case, mind is basically choosing that object to be. And that is another state we are here today, and that's again simply because we are paying close attention to it. Close, and our mind is so settled and less distracted. I'm not saying no distractions, and less distracted than in the past. So now we know how to settle it down that way. Okay, so good. Continue practicing, observing, and being mindful. Okay. So anybody else? Buddy? Whereupon?
I will try to complement with Jonas. So it most of them is like Jonas explained, but I would try to explain also is this session is very interesting. It's like I'm so enjoying, like a see movie. It looks like I see everything happen in my body clearly. This is the first time that I can see it clearly. I would explain that I see three dimensions. I'm not sure it's the right word to say, but I see something with these objects that Ajahn just explained. Plus, I have seen the breeze, which is I will compare like a rope to bring me to see the object clearly. And I was in another way dimension that I can see breathe, I can see object. In the beginning, I enjoyed it. Like you said, I feel like I see my body, I see the mind, I see the thing it happened in my body. And then one is clear. Of course, I see that something happened to my foot. I feel that we call get hurt, but I'm not go to that. I'm not crack it. It's like Jonas explained, but I'm not fighting. I just what's that, and just look and observe. In the meantime, if the breeze would come up, which is I hear the breeze that in and out, and I see it changing the breeze. It's deeper, stronger, and in the meantime, I'm back to that painful mode too. And then it because it popped up. And then when I look that, I also see back that it's not only my leg, it's my back too. It's kind of like a pop up, whoop, whoop. And then I said, okay. And then it come up with the breath again. And then in the moment of that, I don't know, it's moving. My body is moving. I see my body is um move. And I said, who is that move? It's not me. I'm not moving. I'm looking. And it's one moment like it's not happy. It's nothing. It's just okay. And then I just follow the breath and it come up. It's changing around. I don't know how to explain. It's just I have seen the thing is happening in the body. And I just look at that. Uh, and that is the moment that I can see that the body is working. That is the body is working. And the body is changed and the breath is changing when they have something happen in the body, and I see it breathe it deeply, shortly, how it works with the body, with the body in the body that you just explained this session. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah. So as Warapan mentioned, it's a different. It is because I try to explain in absorption way rather than just presentness way today. Absorption way or the jhanic way that arises when we become so connected, and that's how this different stages is developing, and this is again coming from the after we practice, our concentration developed. So as a result, our awareness just opened, and with that we become aware of things happening. And the body movements again, oftentimes is due to our mind settled and a breath. This is a relationship between a breath and a body, the flesh body and a breath body, because the breath coming in and going out, and as the mind settles and the mind needs to be somewhere, so then with that, uh, breath is regulating this a body to move around and move. Nothing wrong with that one. It's okay. And this basically mind is settled there, and now breath becomes an object, and with that the body is moving around here and there. So it's just moving, and actually this is the state of a wholesome mental state. Right? Mind is a wholesome positive state. Mind is in a positive state, so your mind is like entertaining there, not entertaining as entertaining, but awareness, puzzled. Now wow, it's happening this way, so that's a wholesome state, the mind, and that actually encourages you to further practice, see, further want to know. So like that, it's like in a state of, like as I gave a simile of, you're thirsty, so you need the water, and you see the shop. Further you move on to that, and that's a kind of it's called also a factor of Injil, or chanda in Pali, called it chanda, a desire to do it. Along with that, you want to know this breath, you want to recognize the things happening, and you also recognize that how this is happening. So this, you have this more the wish, this positive energy to know, want to know, moves on further on. And the more you know, the contentment you become, and stays is just develops, and just oh wow, oh wow, oh wow. And it comes to the state that you feel so glad and so happy. And when you feel this so glad and so happy in that moment, now this gladness is not due, as I mentioned, due to the other material things, but your experience of knowing things the way it is. And this gladness actually leads to see your mind that I was leading to today, your actual mind, and this is actually the state that comes like naturally, and then with that coming this gladness actually allowing you to furthering up to development on further the understanding, and actually in this state you're even able to let it be. So that's the tranquil state of the mind, even the Jonas explaining the ability to let it be without interfering it. So this is a tranquil state. Mind is in a state of awareness, fully concentrated, and in the meantime, okay, able to keep the mind in a balance, equanimous mental state. If in the Pali we call upekha, we call upekha, so equanimous mental state there is. So it's staying there. And in this moment, actually, what's happening, which we have talked here and there, but I haven't given the clear instruction on that yet, is the hindrances, the things that hinder your practice is actually are actually no longer disturbing you. It's settled, and this equanimity simply manifested there. It's like a blooming, and this lotus flower is blooming there. Each petal is just unfolding this lotus flower. So it's unfolding it, and your mind, it's just like your mind is there, and simply other things are just unfolding one after another. These petals, and the hindrances are just not there to disturb you. And that's why in that moment, in order to understand this mind, not flickered by other things, but to be keeping in a state of one object, or called the image, or the state that this is knowing the breath, where it is, in which state. That is basically to not letting it to flickered by other things that is coming in, but to know itself inside the color of it. It's like I gave you a simile of the fish. You have corners of the fish now, and you see the fish properly, and you caught that fish. It's in your hand now, and now you're investigating it. So here there is nothing that disturbing you to see the fish. It's in your hand, and now it's like your mind is in your hand watching it. It's all the functionality, all the things here, what's happening. So it's in your hand, in your mind. So mind is in your hand and watching. So that is the state you're coming into. And so in that state, you will be able to distinguish what are the factors there, and which state of the mind I am having at that moment. Okay. Oh, wonderful. Bit different than I instructed in the past, simply because I wanted to move on to something new, so that you can experience further on that. Although I didn't give you a technical terms, and didn't give you like a sequences of this, because I wanted to hear from all of us practicing. And when I see some development, okay, I will put, okay, move little bit and pieces up and up, so that there will be no difficulties of remembering it, and you don't have to struggle to memorize it. It's coming from your own experience. And with that experience, you will never forget it. Whenever it comes, I have been there. I know that. Oh, this is what's happening. Yes, I have been, like that. And it becomes a natural, and you can apply in your day-to-day life, even beyond when you are meditating. When you are in your daily life, there will be a moment of so-called a zazen, or so-called this moment of aha. Oh, this is yes, like that. Okay, so good. All right, anybody wants to share or anything? Any questions? So Kyla, you looks very calm and observed today.
Yeah, I didn't succeed as well as Jonas or Waraporn in letting the feelings go, but I also had a moment, and thinking back to the last lesson you gave, where I had a particular pain in the body, and I tried to focus on the breath and let it go as much as I could until it really interrupted the practice, and then I eventually moved, but it's something that I'm working on.
Okay. As I have mentioned a couple of times or many times, it's okay to move as long as you know why you're moving. And obviously, a practice make perfect. So practicing is the key. Or practice it slowly, slowly seeps in, rather than try to run 100 miles straight away. We are learning, each steps, slowly we will be there, as long as we are walking. So we continue walking, and eventually we will be there. So that is what I always say. One who practices knows. One who practices understands. Will get better sooner or later, right? So that is good, wonderful. Continue practicing. Okay. Right. Anybody else before we practice the loving kindness, and a last session to practice and wrap up of us? Really? Sanya?
I think I noticed let's say a couple of things, because first of all, I'm not practicing on a regular basis. I think this session, it has been quite a long meditation that we are sitting a little bit. So what happened to me during this time was that, first of all, I'm not fully awakened just yet, but then while doing the meditation, it looks like I see some kind of movie, really story, which I don't even remember what it was, but it changes. It's surprisingly quite clear. It's like the story that comes up, and then I just observe it, and it keeps changing. And you told us to hear the breath, so I still note that, okay, there are some breathing, and gradually I feel that, okay, I have already, I thought that I already relaxed the body, but then gradually things like release bits and pieces around the body. So it just goes by itself. The tension was just released, and then I still note the breathe, and then the breathe changed the rhythm, and at some point, also what I notice also in my mind is that, do I want something? Do I want to relax? Do I need something? And then I just realized that actually I don't need anything. I just let it go, and then suddenly the body itself just react like the long breath comes automatically. It's like, and it feel good, because of course the body got oxygen and things, so it feel like release gradually. So I gradually awaken a little bit, like a fully awake, and then the story continues, and I just, okay, you can play movie in front of me. I just don't pay attention to it, and then and things goes on, and it comes to the moment that, okay, this is quite calm. So it has been good, and yeah, it's good.
Yes, see, now this is quite interesting, you see. Your mindfulness become automatic now. There.
Mm.
Whatever is playing behind the scene, you're not disturbed, right? You become mindful, and you automatically become aware of these things happening. Now it manifested, this is, right? And you're undisturbed. And with that, what's happening? There is also, you are getting the knowledge. So knowledge is manifested there.
Mhm.
Understanding, true knowledge. Oh, this is okay. This is, oh, okay. Oh, this is okay. See, this is how actually we are, the purpose of the practice is to develop that sort of a knowledge, so that it is not disturbing you.
Mm.
And also one thing I know, I like the way you said, when you are feeling like these things, and then suddenly you take a long deep breath, and then you feel good. See, here also, you can train to notice here that emotion actually affects to the body, and then a body is actually saying that I need this breath to feel myself okay, right? And with that, when you take a long deep breath, body relaxed and you feel better too. You see the relationship in there, right? So that's, again, you're aware of that, and then you manage to do it. And that's not what you want to do it. Naturally did it, but you're aware of that particular step at that time. And that is become a knowledge. That knowledge manifested not by you want to know it or you want to get it, but it's naturally manifested it. And you're aware of that one, right? So, and then you recognize, I am breathing long. Yeah, I am breathing long. And here, actually, although I say I am breathing long, actually there is no I. You're simply breathing in long. So there is no concept of me breathing. Is just there is just a process that is breathing in, and you're aware. And then when you're aware of that breath, you have a knowledge, this realization, the understanding. That feels better. See, you're not disturbed, right? You're not disturbed. So that is the knowledge. So these are the things that we are trying to develop in our day-to-day life so that we will be happy, right? And we can live our life happily without any troubles. Everything happens, it's okay. Okay. Right. So I think it's time to practice loving kindness meditation before we finished. Okay. Uh, uh, but again, any questions, if you have, we can have it next time, or you can email me. Okay. So, let's practice loving kindness meditation. So, just take a long deep breath and relax your body, mind. Settle yourself down with the help of the breath. So today I emphasized more on the listening the sound of the breath. So using the sound of the breath to relax yourself and your body, your mind. As you're settled, relaxed, bring your attention to be aware of your entire body. Learn to notice the different sensations that's happening in your body. To your hand. So shifting your attention to be aware of any sensations taking place in your hands without moving. Bring that attention to your heart. Feel the beating heart. You may bring a smile to on your face. to feel the connection with your heart. So smile, physically smiling, and feel the connection with your heart. And as you feel the connection with your heart, generating loving kindness and compassion towards yourself, allowing yourself to be happy, free from suffering. Mentally, you may recite, sharing these loving thoughts to yourself. I am well. I am happy. I am peaceful. We, I am peaceful. May I make a resolution or a wish. May I be free from suffering. May I be free from troubles of a body and mind. May I be liberated, liberated. Similarly, sharing loving kindness and compassion to all other sentient beings, starting from near dear one, or any particular person that you wish to share this loving kindness, loving thoughts towards that person, to bring into your mind of that person, sharing it. May you be happy, may you be well, may you be free from suffering, may you be liberated. And extending it to the entire sentient beings, whatever beings there are, visible and invisible beings here, there, everywhere. May they be happy. May they be at peace. May they be free from suffering, free from troubles of a body and mind. May they be liberated. Whatever merits, good things that we have accumulated today in the past, may all beings rejoice and free from any troubles, any difficulties. Those who are happy may be happy. Feel the attainment of supreme Nibbana. Beings be Bring that attention back to your hands, to your body, awareness of sensations in your body, and to your eyes. Observing the sensations in your eyes, creating intention to open your eyes. slowly open your eyes and come out from the practice. Reflect for a few moments. Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you very much. Wish you all the best. Wish you all have a wonderful weekend, and hopefully we'll see you next session. Until then, keep practicing and see you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And see you
Thank
next
you.
time.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.